Welcome, everyone, to the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, episode 57. Good evening to everyone and happy Sunday. I hope your new year 2023 has got off to a great start. My name is Charles. I am the host of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, where connections matter, bringing you interviews of Detroit difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship and community involvement. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks to those who are joining us live on Facebook on the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, on YouTube on the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, and LinkedIn on my personal page, Charles McKay. So thank you for those who are watching us live. Please, I do ask a favor. Please like, subscribe, share this with friends and family. We're going to have a great conversation tonight. So thank you for those who are joining us, and thank you for those who will watch the playback. Every week I bring you a interesting guest, um, someone from the community in Detroit who are difference makers, and we have a very special guest tonight. I'm excited about. Our topic is going to be on what is natural hair care. Um, Many of you may have known or even seen or heard about the documentary that was produced in conjunction with Chris Rock. There was a documentary called Good Hair, and it was narrated by Chris Rock. And the focus on the documentary was how Black women perceive their hair and their hairstyles and how hair kind of defines them. And, there's, women of color, particularly Black women, hair is very vital to their image, their self worth, and how they perceive themselves. And so we're going to talk about that. We have a very special guest that's going to talk about what is good hair, what is natural hair care, good hair versus bad hair, natural hair versus processed. So we're going to get into that. So let me introduce our guest. Um, our guest on the podcast this evening, she is a native Detroiter. Um, she is the creator of the Detroit Natural Hair Care Expo. She's a single mom of twins. She is a serial entrepreneur. Has her hands in different business ventures, mostly surrounding the beauty industry. She has helped hundreds of people to successfully launch their beauty brands. She loves giving back to the community and helping others. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome to the Detroit Metro Plug podcast none other than Eonica Smith.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being part of this podcast. Before we go into your entrepreneurship journey in the beauty brand industry and also your creation of the Detroit Natural Hair Care Expo, so tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, a little bit about you growing up, anything you feel comfortable with, what schools you went to, east side, west side, all that kind of thing.
Okay. So, my name is Eonica. I am 34 from Detroit. I grew up on the west side of Detroit, 6 Mile, Livernois area.
West side?
I yeah, west side. I attended Detroit public schools up until high school. I graduated from Oak Park High School. I attended Eastern Michigan University. Um, and then from there, I just became an entrepreneur, and that's kind of like what has been my thing for the last about 8 years now. I am a single mom of twin daughters they're 8 years old. And yeah, that's pretty much, it. I grew up in a family that has been consistently, everyone is an entrepreneur basically. So
Okay.
it kind of has been embedded in me since I was a kid.
All right. All right. Shout out to the west side. I'm a west sider too. Okay. Nothing against the east sider. So we all good. We all good. Um, so oh yeah, somebody there's a Jasmine Bailey says west side. West side. Okay. All right. So let's get into it. So what was your journey into the beauty or hair business? Was there someone in your family or how did this all begin for you?
So, when I got into like the hair industry or the beauty industry, originally it just came from me just making hair care products. I started making products for my daughters when they were babies, just like, body butters and hair oils. And
Mhm.
the reason why is because when I was younger, I want to say I was like 4 or 5 years old, my mom had put a perm in my hair. And from there, on, I just had horrible
How old
hair.
was
Like,
you when this happened?
I was like 4 or 5 years old when my
Wow,
mom
wow,
put a kitty perm in my hair, but
wow,
it
wow.
damaged my hair drastically, and it took me a long time to actually try to get my hair healthy. So when I had my own daughters, I just wanted to put the best things on their skin, the best things in their hair so that they can have healthy hair from the start and they wouldn't have to go through the struggle that I went through with my
Mhm.
hair at a
Right.
young age. So I started making hair care products with ingredients that you find in the kitchen like coconut oil, olive oil,
Wow.
um, things like that, mango butter, shea butter, and just
When
start mixing.
when you came up with your recipes, did you, like, go on YouTube, or this was just something instinctive? How did you
It was more so instinctive.
Okay.
I did look up ingredients to see, like, what they did and
Right.
how, what they would do to the hair, like vitamin E and grapeseed oil. I did my research, but
Right.
I kinda just came up with stuff on my own. And
Okay.
then I started working with cosmetic chemists later on because I wanted to do more intensive, um ingredients and things like that that may take a little bit more knowledge to work with because like I'm not a chemist, so
Right,
working
right,
with ingredients that are very powerful, you don't want to mess up hair, especially my kids. I didn't want to mess up their hair. So I did
right.
start working with a cosmetic chemist later on. And then I just learned everything about making hair care products
Okay,
from them. And I just kind of took that knowledge and then I launched my hair care brand. I
okay.
launched it in 2017. And then,
2017, okay. Mhm.
yeah, I launched my hair care brand in 2017. And I actually launched it at the first Detroit Natural Hair Expo. And that's how the expo came about.
Okay, okay. So you have this history as a child. You said your mother at 4 or 5 gave you a kitty perm, and then that damaged your hair. Did you have, like, the understanding of what was going on at that age, that this may not be a good thing for you, or
Yeah, no, no, no. So, yeah, I had no clue until I got older, and I just
Right.
realized, like, my hair was just severely damaged, and I just did
Okay.
not know how to take care of it. So,
Wow, wow.
like, I would get, like, the braids, and I would get, like, the weaves and things like that to kinda just, like,
Right, right.
hide the damn hair because we really just didn't know how to take care of my hair. It wasn't
Wow.
until I became an adult that I
Right,
actually
right.
learned how to manage my natural hair and I realized, okay, yeah, perms aren't the way to go because once my mom started the perms, they never ended. I was
They never ended.
continually getting,
Okay.
perms all the time.
Right.
So it wasn't until I became an adult and I started having my own kids that I
Yeah.
realized, okay, natural hair, how to take care of natural hair. It was just
Right,
a big thing back in 2016,
right.
2015. Natural hair was a big thing. So
Okay,
I just learned how to do it based off of watching like YouTube videos and things like
okay.
that. And it just kind of fell all into place.
So what So wouldn't you think it was an aha moment? Like, okay, you're concerned about this, of course, as as a child, and as you're an adult, you have your own twin daughters, and you want to make sure their hair is taken care of. But when did the switch come on? Like, maybe this is something that other women who have children like mine, women of color, black women, may need these products or this understanding for their children or even for their own hair. When did that light switch come on?
So honestly, I was never looking to sell products. I wasn't
Oh
looking
wow.
to make
Okay.
products for anyone else. I was not looking to, put my products out there. Like it was honestly just for my daughters. Like it was just something I did at home. But I ended up giving family members like samples.
Okay.
And then they were like, "Oh my goodness, this is amazing. Oh my goodness, this is a great product. Oh my goodness, you need to put it out there."
Wow.
And then they're like, "Oh, these samples are too big. You're just giving away free product at this point. You need to sell it." So
Wow,
I'm
wow.
like, like a single mom. I was like 26 years
Now
old.
was you working somewhere else, doing something else at the
Mhm.
time? Okay.
Yeah. So at the time, I was working for Comcast.
Okay. All
I
right.
was working in sales.
Right. Right.
I was working there. I had been working there for a great amount of time. I was making a lot of money in corporate America.
Right.
Eventually, they fired me.
Oh,
Which,
wow. Okay.
yeah, so eventually they fired me. It had a lot to do with me starting a business and working on their time. I was working on my business on their
Oh,
time.
right. Right. I understand.
But yeah, so they actually let me go. I want to say like a week or two before I launched the first Detroit Natural Hair Expo. But yeah, making hair care products was just something that I was not really trying to do. However, people
Right.
were just like pumping my head up. They were just like, "Oh, Eonica, you have to do this." And then that's when I just kind of got that moment, like, "Okay, maybe I could do this."
Wow.
Maybe I had other businesses prior to that. Like I was
Right.
doing like I had a online boutique. I was doing like
Right. Right.
photography. So I had all these different things, and I'm like, okay, maybe I can do it. Maybe it'll, go big or something. So I just kind of put it out there, and it did. Um,
Wow. Wow.
and then when I launched it at the first Detroit Natural Hair Expo, that event had about 2,000 people there, and like all my products sold out. No one knew who I
Wow.
was.
No
No
one.
one
Wow.
knew anything about me. And they came to my booth and they just purchased. Everything was gone. By the end of the
Wow.
night, we
Wow.
were done.
Okay. So we'll get into that. I just want to just to backtrack. So your passion is that you have these twin daughters. You want to make sure you're doing their hair right and they're getting, the proper treatment so their hair is not damaged. They have healthy hair. So you come up with these products and then you're giving them to family and they're saying, "Wow, this is amazing." So it's samples and then some people see it as a bad thing or a good thing. You get fired or something happens at Comcast, but actually that probably turned out to be a blessing
Mhm.
because it refocused you on your business. And then you do their first expo and you have this product and then it just people buy it and there's good reception. And so you're telling me you didn't do any marketing or anything. It was just word of mouth when you first created your products for, and what were they specific products? Just
So yeah, it was mostly word of mouth. So I had a growth oil. When I first
Mhm.
started off, I had three products. I had a hydration mist, which will hydrate your hair. I had a hair butter, which was like a shea butter mixture,
Okay.
and then I had a growth oil. So those were my three
Wow.
products that I started off with. I remember when I launched it, I also had like a hair vitamin too. I came out with a vitamin
Right,
and I
right.
released that at the expo, but that was it. Those were the three products that I came out with. And then eventually my line grew. But yeah, it
Wow.
just started off with word of mouth, like no real marketing. Um, I did like post pictures of like my daughter's hair growth and things like that on Facebook back then.
Right, right.
But mostly it was just like my aunties and my cousins
Wow.
said that I had a great product, and that was kind of it.
Now I'm curious. This was back. You said 2015. When was this? 2015 or
2017. It started in
2017?
2016,
Okay.
2017.
Was
Yeah,
there any other like the vitamins, the growth products? Was there anything in the market for women of color or black kids or women?
yeah, so there were other products. You had like the Main Choice had just launched around that time.
Okay.
Mael Organics just launched around that time. Those were two of the bigger brands that had just launched
Right,
maybe
right,
like a few years prior. So there were out there, they were out there, but like honestly, I was kind of oblivious to all of that when it came to social media. Like I didn't
right,
really
right.
know that was natural hair was a thing
Hmm.
at that point. I had no clue. Like I really did not know.
Wow.
And then once I created the products and I started doing my research, because when I decided that I wanted to do the hair care brand, one thing that I did was I researched all of these brands. I wanted to see who was out in the market. I wanted to see what they did. I wanted to see
Okay.
how they started. And I kind of just like took notes and kind of followed their lead.
Okay. So took notes. You saw what was out there. Follow your lead. Saw the gaps. Okay. So I want to get into. I'm going to add these slides here. Um, I want to get into the how you started the Detroit Natural Hair Care Expo. So let me get here, add these in here. Oh, see, here we go. Yeah, here we go. So so I pulled this off your Facebook page. So we have the Detroit Natural Hair Expo, and that started in 2017, 18, or
2017.
2017.
Mhm.
And And you decided your first one. Did it was it at a small? If I understand it, because I've been following you on Facebook. Did you start first like at a big event place, or how did it all begin?
So yes, so originally, how I came up with the Detroit Natural Hair Expo was in April of 2017. I had a friend of mine who lived in New Orleans. She sent me a link because she knew that I was starting my hair care brand. She sent me a link to the New Orleans Natural Hair Expo.
Okay.
And she was like, you should come here and, sell your products at the expo. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll look into it. When I looked into it, the vendor fees were so high. They were like $600. And I'm like,
Okay.
bro,
Wow.
I'm like, I'm a new product. I'm not paying $600 to go to New Orleans and I may not
Right.
sell a product.
Right. 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 Right.
So I'm like, I wonder if Detroit has something here because I'm like, if they have an expo here for natural hair, maybe I can do an
Right.
event there. I can vend there. So I did my research online. I'm like, okay, there's no natural hair expos here. Like that's so weird. And so
That's
many
weird.
other
Yeah.
cities were having them at that time. It was a big thing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. I knew that I did do some research and saw that there was a natural hair group and they were doing like little events, but nothing on a big scale.
Big
So I'm
scale.
like,
Okay.
okay, well, maybe I can plan something in Detroit like the New Orleans Natural Hair Expo. So I went online
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of just reached out to other organizers who were doing natural hair expos
Yeah.
in different cities to see if anyone would be willing to kind of like mentor me or help me,
Right.
um, plan this event because I've never planned an event on this caliber before.
Right.
So
Right.
reached out to a lot of them, and a lot of them were just like, "Oh, we don't know you. Oh, we don't want to share our secrets."
Right.
They were
Right.
very,
Right.
very hush hush. But
Right.
finally, I did meet someone. She's the creator of the Charleston Natural Hair Expo. I emailed her, and she emailed me back immediately, and she just gave me the blueprint on how to do this event. At the time, she had been doing the Charleston Natural Hair Expo for like 6 or 7 years. So she was already in the game. She knew all about it. She was a
And what
big
city was she from?
Charleston Natural Hair
Wow.
Expo. Yep, she's the creator of the Charleston Natural Hair Expo. So
Wow.
she kind
Wow.
of just gave me the blueprint, and this was in April.
Wow.
And
Wow.
then I'm like, okay, let me get on it. She was like, Eonica, if you're gonna do it, you better put your blood, sweat, and tears in it. And I'm like, okay, like,
Okay.
sure. So I was literally, I did not sleep. I
Wow.
maybe slept for like 2 to 3 hours a night. I was up. I was going to work at Comcast. I was doing my planning for this event.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of just put it out there on social media, Detroit Natural Hair Expo. I end up launching it at Kobo in
Wow.
downtown Detroit. That first year, I think I sold 55 vendor spaces, 100.
Wow.
I'm sorry, yeah, 55 vendor spaces. We sold over 1,500 tickets. We did not have any sponsorships or anything like that. And that first year, I probably made about $100,000 off this event.
Well, let me
Um,
ask you this, because this is amazing. Because uh, I mean, to have the I admire your faith, tenacity, and focus to just jump like that. Because I know I would have started off, with a little small venue first to do a beta test or test it out. I mean, what led you to say, I'm going all in? We going to Coble Hall. I think it's now called the Huntington Place.
yeah.
So I mean, did you have to put some money up front to secure the spot, or like that's a big jump from zero to we're going to Coble Hall?
I followed the blueprint. so,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, I did not put the money up front. I worked with them, and then I was able to, once they told me, like, okay, Yannicka, this is the price, this is what you need. I went out there, I found the vendors, and I kind of just used that to leverage.
Oh,
I
okay.
really did not,
Right, I
yes,
got you. Okay, so
yeah.
you
So
followed
I
the
didn't,
blueprint. Okay.
yeah, I followed the blueprint of my mentor. So I did not use
Oh,
any money out of pocket or anything like that. And I was able to have such a huge event. I
wow.
don't know why I decided to go that big. I can't tell you. I just knew that she said, if you're gonna do it right. So
All right,
that
all
was
right.
my yeah, that was my main focus was to just do it
Wow.
right.
I gotta take a pause just to think, like, you just dropped some nuggets. First, you did your research, And then secondly, you found mentors, and you went around. Of course, some people were like, I don't know who you are, I don't want to share, but you kept being persistent, and then you found a mentor, and that lady showed you the blueprint, and then you took action. So I want to get some air horns to that. So wow, so you had the vendors, they had to put a deposit, that was the money probably to secure the space.
Yeah.
And 15,000 tickets. Was it just word of mouth? Were you on the radio? Did you go on Fox News? How did people hear about it?
1,500 tickets, for the
1,500
Detroit,
tickets.
yeah, for
Yeah.
the Detroit Natural Hair Expo the first year.
First
So
year.
that first year, I really just used social media to the
Okay.
people say, like, social media is a bad thing, but I used it to the best of my ability. So I started the
Okay.
Instagram for Detroit Natural Hair Expo. I was posting every day, all day, constantly. I don't think that if I remember correctly, I don't believe that we had any radio interviews that
Okay.
year. That
All right.
that didn't come until the year later when we were actually on the news and we were doing radio interviews. That happened
Okay.
after the first year. The
Okay.
first year was totally just me. It was
Wow.
I
Did you have
worked
a
by my
team? Did you have a team, a committee,
no, I didn't have a team. I did not have a
wow.
committee. It was just me. So I planned the event I started in April. The event was August the 17th, 2017.
Wow.
That was the first year that I had it. So I did everything by myself. Like all the marketing, all the I was going around to different like beauty supply stores, posting posters, but all of that was just me and social media marketing by myself.
Wow. That is amazing, man. That's amazing. So I pulled this slide off your Facebook page, the Detroit Natural Hair Expo. Was this the first year, or I'm not sure? I wasn't sure what year this was.
This this does not look like the first year. This looks like the event that we had, I wanna say maybe in Grand Rapids.
Oh,
So
okay, okay.
yep,
So you had
yep,
one at Grand Rapids.
yep,
Yeah.
so that was the Detroit Natural Hair Expo here. I'm not
Oh,
sure
okay.
what year.
Yeah, yeah. There's people lining up. Man, that is amazing. That is a
Yeah,
blessing. The first year by yourself,
yeah.
social media only. Were you boosting ads, doing social media ads, Facebook, or you just was posting all on your own?
I was posting all on my own. I really didn't learn how to do boosting and ads and stuff until the following year.
Right, right. Wow. And still
So
1,500 people and 55
yeah,
vendors. That's amazing. That's
yeah.
amazing. Okay. All right. So that launched. So tell me more about your products. How did you make that at home? Did you get a vendor, or how does that work?
So I started making the products at home, and
Mhm,
I pretty much turned my basement into a whole like manufacturing,
mhm,
um, chemistry lab type thing.
mhm.
So I was basically making the products by myself. I was the shipping manager. I was
Wow, wow.
the chemist. I was doing everything. So I created my product line went from 3 products to maybe like I want to say 10 to 12 products.
Mhm.
Um, but I was making everything myself and I was shipping everything out. I was doing that. I created my website, all types of stuff. So yeah,
Okay.
I did everything. I ended up taking a back seat from it recently,
Right.
but up until, last year, like I was pretty much doing everything.
So how many years have the expo has been going since 2017?
Yeah.
It's been every year since?
Yeah, the only year that we did not have the expo
Oh,
was the year of COVID.
COVID, right. I
Yeah.
understand COVID, yeah. So
Yeah.
what has your attendance and participation grown from?
So the second year, I want to say we had about 2,000 people there. We also had we had about 60 vendors. I want to say we also had that was the year we had our biggest sponsorships. We were on the radio, so we did numbers that year. But 2019, I'm sorry, was our biggest year ever. So we had over 100 vendors. We were in the Cobo Grand Ballroom, which was like a huge space. We had Kenya Moore from Real Housewives of Atlanta there.
Yeah, we're showing now,
Um,
yeah. Mhm.
yep, that's me, and that's actually my team from my hair care brand, and then that's with Kenya Moore from Real Housewives of Atlanta. She was our guest speaker. So that was the year that we also went on tour. So we went to Memphis and did a hair
Oh,
expo.
wow,
We went to
wow, wow.
Chicago and we went to Grand Rapids as well. So we kind of just expanded outside of Detroit and did events in other cities. But that was our biggest year, 2019. We had over 2,000 attendees at that event. It was huge. Within the recent years, those are like our vendors, some of our vendors who have attended our event, their
Okay.
product line.
Yes.
That's actually this product line here is also one of our vendors. He was one of my mentees. So I was his mentor and he created a brand. I taught him how to do that. So that's
Wow, wow.
Beard Swag. So yeah, that's pretty cool that his
Yes,
brand is up
yes.
there. But yeah, so actually after COVID, our numbers went down a little bit.
Yes, I
I want to
understand,
say,
yes. Mm.
understandably, because people aren't coming out,
Right,
it
right,
is what
right.
it is. But we still have our vendors who show up. So, we did have the expo in 2021. We had it in 2020. We had a good amount of vendors. And like I said, the attendees went down from at least like 500 to 800 over the last 2 years. So that's the sucky part. But right now we're kind of just going to pivot a little bit and take the expo to something different this year.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right, cool. So, man, it's almost like you've learned how to enter into the natural hair care industry with your own products, but you also developed a skill of planning major events. I mean, to uh, go from zero to a big event and to get that kind of attention. That's amazing. I want to in the intro, I talked a little bit about Chris Rock's documentary Good Hair, and I want to touch a little bit on that. So, how would you define natural hair care in your own definition?
For me, natural hair care is just like hair care where you're not using harsh chemicals to process your hair to make it straight. You're just rocking the hair that came out of your scalp with no um and you're not doing anything to it. You can do braids, you can do twist outs, you can do curl
Okay,
outs with perms and straightening your hair. To me, that's not natural.
okay. Now, um, by me being a guy, I'm a little naive about this whole. I just get basically a fade, haircut, whatever. I'm pretty simple. Um, so, have you noticed? Are there's different camps? Are obviously you have women who wear lace fronts. We is a sew-on considered natural hair? You're not, I
I
don't know.
feel like I feel like wigs, because I wear wigs a lot too, but I feel
Okay.
like it's just a protective style, right? Because
Oh, okay. Hmm.
underneath that wig is braids,
Okay.
or
Oh,
I have
okay.
my hair slicked down. So I feel like for me, natural hair is when you put harsh chemicals like a perm in it to straighten it out.
Okay.
You're not really celebrating or rocking the kinky hair or the
Okay.
curly hair that came out of your scalp. You're manipulating it to
Right.
be something that it wasn't
All right.
originally, right? So like a weave, a wig, things
Right.
like that to me, I would not say is not considered natural because it's a protective
Oh,
style.
it's a protector
Protect
style.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
Right. Right.
protecting
Okay.
your hair. So, it's not harming your hair, it's not hurting your hair if it's installed correctly,
Okay.
but if you put a perm in it, it's gonna burn,
Right. Right. Right.
it's gonna harm you. So, that
So
to me,
are women still doing relaxers, perms, or is it more protective hair, natural hair? What are you seeing? What's the trend you're seeing?
Um, I do believe that women are still doing relaxers. I don't think that natural hair is as prevalent as it was a few years ago. Like we still have a huge natural hair community, but I do feel like people are, switching it up. I mean, as times
Right.
go, things change. So I don't think that natural hair is what it was 4 or 5 years ago. I just don't believe that.
Oh, well, how
Um,
has it changed in your opinion? What do you mean?
it's kinda like when bell bottoms were popular in the '70s and now they're bringing them back, you know?
Right,
So it's
right,
just
right.
like things just change. Whatever is hot or whatever
Mhm.
is trending is what people are going to follow. And a lot more people are going back. I see posts all the time where people are like, "Oh, I'm about to go get a relaxer because I'm tired of my natural hair," where
Wow, wow.
5 years ago people were like, shaving their hair off because they want to get the natural
Right,
texture
natural
back.
texture
So
back.
I just think whatever is trending, people just kind of follow that.
Now, what is because also I think natural hair. How would you define locks or sister locks or
I think locks are natural.
right, right, right. Are they considered in the same group or do people who have locks kind of look down on people who wear protective hair like wigs or sew-ins
I,
or lace fronts or something?
I
Or
don't
is
think
all one
so.
family?
I think they're all like, I mean, honestly, I think it's just all
Right.
one
Family.
family. Like,
Okay.
I mean, I created hair care products. I'm the founder of the Detroit Natural Hair Expo, but you gonna catch me in a wig. It is what it is.
Okay. Yeah,
You
it is.
know,
Right, right, right. I
so
understand.
but
Oh,
I
right,
still wear my natural hair. I don't have perms and things
right.
like that. So, and I don't think anyone has ever, really looked down on me. But
Okay.
I think that the one thing is the relaxers. That's just
Right, right, right.
that
So I
that's
like
what
how you right.
that's
I
what
like
sets them apart.
right, I like how you defined it. The natural hair care is basically letting your hair develop naturally and that wigs or braids are protective styles, not necessarily mean you're not rocking it natural.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Cool. Now, all right. So you define that. You define your products, and there may be people in my audience who hear what you're saying. They're inspired. They may want to do something similar to what you're doing, and you did. And I'm in the bio, and you also said yourself that you've helped people launch beauty brands.
Yeah.
So what would be some advice for someone who's watching who want to launch their own beauty brand? What 5 things or 3 things you would tell them?
First thing I would say is find a mentor. Find someone who's willing to help you. That's very important in this industry because there's a lot of tea. There's a lot of secrets, and if you don't know those things, um, if you're not going to do all of your research ahead of time, you can get scammed in this industry. So it's best to just get a mentor, someone that you trust, and someone who's going to help you and walk you through it. So that would be my first piece of advice. My second piece of advice is to kind of just do your research on your own. Like we have Google for a reason, we have YouTube for a reason. We now have TikTok. You can go on there and you can find everything that you need to know. Like there's so many channels out there that are helping. Take notes,
Mhm.
write it down, and just kind of do your research on your own. Don't go out there trying to get all the answers from someone who has already done it, because you kind of want to be on your P's and Q's on your own too. My last piece of advice would be to kind of just do it. Write down a timeline. I'm a strong believer in writing it down, making it plain, and just kind of just doing it. So I would say create a timeline of how long you want to be on this journey and how long you want it to take. If you want to launch your product in August of 2023, then do that. Write it
Right.
down, figure out what you need to do to get to that point. Those will be my first three most important pieces of
Okay.
advice.
All right. So you said find a mentor, do your research, and set a time to launch. We have a few comments. Someone said that you are my mentor. I don't know if you know who was that.
That looks like that's Lena. She's a
Okay.
part of my team now. She's been one of the vendors at my event,
Okay.
I think, for the last 4 years.
Okay. And then there's Jasmine Bailey. She was responding to what we were talking about just a few seconds ago,
Mhm.
a few minutes ago. We still have the option to have different styles as natural hair
Yeah.
weavers or something like that. All right,
Yeah.
so that's cool. That's cool. Thank you for those who are commenting. We appreciate your involvement. Um, yeah. So all right. So great things of advice. I wanted to also ask because you created your own products. I don't know the process of like. Getting patents or having things? Is there certain regulations with creating hair products that you have to make sure you're not harming other people? What's the process with that?
So there aren't any regulations. Like you don't have to go through the FDA or anything like that when
Right.
it comes to making hair care products. What I would say is if you're going to make hair care products or skincare products or any beauty product where someone has to use it on themselves, you should be insured.
Insured.
Um,
Okay.
just in case like something happens, someone has an allergic reaction, whatever, their hair falls out, you want to make sure that you are insured. But the FDA does not require you to do anything. There's certain things that you need to have on your labels, but
Okay.
like when it comes to making the product or creating the product, it's kind of not like food where you have to
Right.
have
Right. Right.
all
Right.
these, strict restrictions and things like that. So I would just say,
Oh,
just
I didn't know
having
that. I just assumed that,
yeah,
there's some type of government oversight or a
no,
patent, like you said,
no.
FDA. So what
So
if
like
your stuff gets into if you have it in stores? Is there private labeling? Is there certain standards?
So private labeling is just where you go to like I've done private labeling for other brands where they have come to me and I've created the product for them and then they just pop their label on it.
Okay.
So it all boils down to just being insured because even if you go to Walmart and you put your product in there, first of all, they're not even going to look at you unless they know that you're insured.
Okay.
Because I mean that's really the biggest thing. No brand, no big store, Walmart, Target, Sally's, they're not going to look at you unless you have insurance, anyways. So that's
Okay.
like the biggest thing. And then, of course, like I said, your labeling, the FDA does require you to have certain things on there. Like you need to make sure your ingredients are clear on your label. You need to make
Okay.
sure where it's being manufactured is on your label. You need to
Okay.
make sure that your contact information is, those are all FDA requirements. But what you put in your products, all that
Okay.
type of stuff, they don't want to know that. They don't ask, they don't care.
Okay. All right.
So
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
yeah,
So that's
no.
awesome.
So
So that
as far as patents, patents are more so like if you're trying to create a product that or invent something that you don't want someone else to take from you.
Mhm.
It really doesn't do much in the beauty industry, but I do recommend that everyone gets their business trademark for sure.
Okay, so business trademark, and so there's no government regulation in terms of ingredients. You want to make sure your products are good, that it's taking care of people, it's not harming people, and that most importantly, that you're insured. But if you're
Yeah.
trying to scale up, because you said you were doing this in your basement, but if
Mhm.
you're trying to scale up, is there like, do you reach out to a manufacturer, somebody to mass produce your stuff, and you give them the ingredients?
Yeah, you can do that. It's expensive.
Oh,
So, like,
okay.
what I've learned in the beauty industry, like, if you find a manufacturer on this side of the water, which is the US, and you want to scale
Right.
up, it's gonna be very, very expensive, right? You do have to hand over your formulas to them
The
so that they
formulas.
can make
Okay.
the products and things like that. Um, but it's expensive to scale up.
Okay. Oh, all right.
Most beauty brands go across the water to like China, and that's how they are able to scale so quickly because they go
Right.
to China, they
Right.
you
Mhm.
know they create the products for them, but the products are coming back with fillers in them. They don't have the
Oh,
same products that, the same
right.
ingredients
Ingredients. Right. Right.
that
Right.
they would have had if they made it themselves because it's going to be way cheaper. So what may cost me $2 to make here in the US is going to cost them 2 cents to make there in China. And they
Okay.
bring it over. And that's why a lot of bigger brands are so able to that's why they are able to scale so quickly.
Okay. That leads me to some more questions on terms of doing it independently, using
Mhm.
manufacturing to scale up. So we're going to take a real quick break. I have a little announcement to put in here, and then when we come back, we're going to delve into some of those questions, and then as we wrap up, we're going to talk about how people can work directly with you, and then you'll share any upcoming announcements. Okay. So we'll be right back.
Hey everyone, this is Charles with Detroit Metro Plug Podcast. If you are finding value in today's video, I invite you to subscribe, like, and comment. We would love to hear your feedback. And don't forget to click on that notification bell so you can be notified when we have upcoming episodes of difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship and community involvement. If you're interested in being a part of our Facebook networking community, I invite you to click on the link to be a part of that community. This is a place where you can network with like minded people and a chance to share about your product or service. If you're interested in working with me directly on how you can share your story with video or with podcasting, you can email me direct at DetroitMetroPlug313 at gmail.com. Thanks again, and let's get back to this interview.
All right, welcome back. Thank you for those who've been joining us live. We appreciate the conversation, the comments, and adding to this conversation. We're here with Eonica Smith. She is the curator and founder of the Detroit Natural Hair Expo. She's also a beauty brand entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, and have helped others launch their beauty brands, specifically in the hair care industry. And so we've been talking about her journey, her personal hair journey with herself from the age of 5. She talked about when her mother gave her a relaxer and how it had an effect on her hair and her own journey for her own natural hair care, and also with her daughters and raising her daughters. And so we left off, we were talking about those who scale up with using manufacturers, how expensive it is for you partnering with manufacturers here in the United States, and some people going overseas, but there's risk of them not following the formula or having fillers and stuff like that. So, do you find that um, people who kind of do it on their own, maybe they have a little lab at home or in their kitchen, are they able to make a decent living or sell products, or what is their capacity?
Yeah, I mean, I have made products in my home. I did not go to a manufacturer or anything like that, and I was able to manage. And I mean, my following on social media for my business alone is over 20,000,
Right.
followers, and I have a huge. At the time, I had a huge um, customer base. So I think that any person who, makes products at home, as long as you're doing it in a safe area, as long as have someone helping you or whatnot, you can absolutely do it. You can scale up, you can make a lot of money, you can make as much money as you want, as long as have the mind to do it. I
Okay.
do think that eventually, if you outgrow the space, then yeah, you
Right.
should probably go find you a small little manufacturing warehouse or something like that, where you can then go, make the products out of there. But I mean, if you
Okay.
can continue to go in your house, do that. You spend as less money as possible in the beginning, and then once you start making, six figures, then yeah, go on out
Okay.
and do
Okay.
more.
What has been some of the keys in your social media strategy and marketing your business and everything?
For me, it's just posting, being transparent. I think a lot of people just appreciate the fact that I'm not one to keep information. Like I
Right.
pretty much just put it out there. I'm very open. I'm
Mhm.
very friendly, so people can come talk to me, come in my inbox. Sometimes I may reply. Sometimes it might take me a while to reply because
Right.
I'm
Right.
just
I
so
understand.
busy.
So busy. Right.
Um, but I mean, for the most part, like I kind of just, I'm very just like approachable. So
Okay.
people, and I'm very welcoming. So people just like that. And I think that when you are friendly and when people like you, they want to support you. So it's when you act a certain way or act like, you don't want to be bothered with people and things like
Right.
that, then
Right. Right.
they're not really willing to be bothered with you. So I
Right.
think
Right.
that just treating people with
Mhm.
respect and being nice and just putting it out there. I post all the time when it comes to my business. And I
Okay.
think that that is a key component in any business that you're trying to launch. You want people to know about you, so you need to
Right. Right.
post about it regardless of how annoying it may be to
Right.
others.
Right.
You still need to tell people about yourself and what you're doing.
All right. Shout out to being friendly. Shout out to being friendly. Um. So as we wrap up, we're going to get into how people can work directly with you. Just a few other quick questions. Um, obviously there's a lot of with Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and things of that nature. There's a lot of beauty brands out there. What would you say would set you apart for what you do with the Detroit Natural Hair Care Expo and what you do with your branding and coaching?
Mhm. So, I mean, like I said, I don't, so I've done like classes and I have done workshops and webinars and things like that. And I kind of just lay it all out there. Like I said before, like I don't keep secrets. I really spill all the tea. And if someone is trying to start a beauty brand and they come to me and they say, "Hey, Eonica, like I want to start a beauty brand. Can you help me?" I'm going to give them the blueprint, like the blueprint was given to me.
Okay.
Um, and just just be upfront. And like I said, a
Okay.
lot of people don't do that. They don't want to share information
Right,
because you're
right, right.
competition at
I
that
find
point,
that,
and they
yeah.
don't like competition.
Right,
But
right.
there's enough money out here for everybody.
Yes, there's
So
enough money. Y'all heard that, folks? There's enough money for everyone. We can all win together.
yeah.
Um, Curious, what would you say are the books or people who have influenced you in your entrepreneurship journey that you would like to share with our audience?
Um. Actually, I wish I would have known about the books. I have a ton of different books that I read. And I don't even know like all the names of them because there's so many of
It
them.
don't have to be
But
about the hair industry. It could be about entrepreneurship or something
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. No, I
is
have a ton of like natural hair. I'm sorry, business books that I kind of like. I'll have
okay.
to come back later and tell you guys about
Oh yeah,
those.
no worries. No, no worries. No worries.
But as far as like people,
Mhm.
definitely Monique Rodriguez, the founder
Okay.
of Maya Organics, E.B. Drayton, who is the founder of the Charleston Natural Hair Expo. Those were people that I kind of just like looked up to as far as entrepreneurship. And most recently, Tabitha Brown, like she's out here killing
Wow.
it.
Yes,
And
she
I
is. Yes,
think
she
like
is.
she's an amazing business person. So like I have really grown to love her.
Yes.
More recently, I really didn't know much about her until now. And to see
Right.
that she has like all these different hair. She has a hair care brand. She has food. She
Food.
has
Yes. Yes.
all different types of things. Like I think that's super dope.
Yes.
So I think she's definitely a key component and someone that I definitely look up to. But like I said, I read a lot of books. I have a
Okay.
lot of entrepreneurial books. I'll have to come back and put them in the
Oh yeah.
comments later,
No problem. No
for
problem. No
sure.
problem.
But they have definitely, kind of like helped me as far as
Okay.
building my brands.
So as we wrap up and people are watching, they're inspired by what you're saying, they're inspired by your story, your journey. And if people want to work directly with you or learn about what you're doing with the expo or maybe your coaching or training, what's the best way they can connect with you? What's your social media
Um,
handles?
Yeah, social media. So you can find me on Facebook, Eonica Smith. You can find me on Instagram, Detroit Natural Hair Expo. I typically respond to all DMs and messages. You can also email me at info@detroitnaturalhairexpo.com or eonicasmith@gmail.com.
Okay. All right. So everyone, you have our handles, and those who will be watching the playback on YouTube will have that information in the description. So as we close out, any announcements or things you want to share with our audience or last words?
Yeah, so the Detroit Natural Hair Expo for 2023 is actually going to be August the 26th in Detroit, but we're doing something a little bit different. We're changing it to a Detroit Natural Hair Festival. So this is going to be the first ever Detroit Natural Hair Festival. It's going to be an outdoor event. We're looking for vendors, we're looking for food trucks. We're looking for entertainers, arts. If you're into art, if you sell art, we would love to have you there. So yeah, they can email us at service Detroit Natural Hair Expo if you want to be a part of the first ever Detroit Natural Hair Festival. So we will not
Okay.
be at Huntington Place this year. We're going to be outside in Detroit.
Outside. All right.
Yeah.
You guys heard it here on the Detroit Metro Plug podcast this year. Will it be in August again this year? Or I
Yeah,
know the
it's going to
dates
be
that you still
August
work.
the 26th.
August the 26th, or you have the date, and it's a 1 day outdoor event.
Yep.
August the 26th in Detroit Outdoor Festival. You have her information if you want. You're a vendor, food trucks, you're an artist. Want to do? I guess you're going to have an art display, and
Yeah.
so that's exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be a
Yeah.
huge
So
event.
whatever I can do to help share the event on my platforms to be of service. That's what the whole point of this
Thank you.
podcast and my platforms is to set a stage and platform other platforms and be amplifier. So, well, I want to thank you for your time and
Thank
sharing with our
you.
audience and being on our podcast. I appreciate your energy, your spirit, your willingness to help people. I've always found those who are willing to help others always are blessed and doing well in their business. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So that wraps up our podcast for this evening. I want to thank you for those who made comments. Please like and share. Please like our page. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers this year to increase our reach and basically to create a stage for local Detroiters to amplify what they're doing in the community and as entrepreneurs and community leaders. That's my role. My mandate is to serve and to help amplify others. So please like and share. Thanks again. I'll see you next week on the Detroit Metro Plug podcast.